Wondered why some companies make more money than others? This is a million-dollar question that everyone asks. But not everyone is ready to hear the answer. Are you ready to know these successful companies' secrets? Is it due to talent or just luck? Don't assume that you are less than these successful companies. If you learn the secrets of success shared in this book, then you will also achieve great results. In this book, you will learn the one rule of top successful businesses and how they make their success a reality. It is not luck nor talent, and you can achieve it too. The secret is that the most successful companies know how to focus their energy and resources on what matters the most. This is what the 80-20 principle is all about. Once you know how it works, you will never be the same again. So if you are ready for this change, this book will change your business, your life, and your overall happiness. You are tuned into Giggle. Great ideas, great life. My name is Mohita, and I am a giggler. I will be narrating to you the summary of the 80-20 principle, the secret of achieving more with less, by Richard Koch. Welcome to the 80-20 principle. Bernard Shaw once said that the reasonable man tries his best to live by the rules of society, while the unreasonable person tries to make the world adapt to his own rules. According to Bernard Shaw, the unreasonable man is the one capable of changing the world. In other words, if you think differently, you can change anything. From childhood, we are conditioned to think that we have to give 100% to anything we do in order to achieve what we want. We are also raised to believe that our actions have equal results. We believe that each day, every customer and every opportunity is exactly the same. That type of thinking is wrong. If you still believe that to achieve 100% out of, for example, your job, you need to give 100%, then your thinking needs some upgrading. The way we think can change the world. We have to be smart and start thinking about how to create more results with less effort. If you do that, imagine how your job, happiness, and life in general will change. The 80-20 principle suggests that 80% of results can be achieved from just 20% of the effort. This principle can be applied to all aspects of your life. If you start thinking 80-20, then you will realize that 80% of your profits can be gained by only 20% of the cost. So what about the other 80%? Is it not valuable? The answer is that once you start questioning your priorities, you will discover what works best and what doesn't. You can then focus more on the things that matter most. Think of the benefits that you can profit from if you only spend 20% of your time and effort on a task that used to take 100% of your time, energy, and attention. Your life would change forever. This idea was first introduced by Wilfredo Pareto 100 years ago. He was trying to study the wealth of rich people in 19th century England. He noticed that only a few people were rich. That didn't surprise him, it was expected. He then tried to study the relationship between the distribution of wealth and the number of people living in England. Once he did that, he discovered that only 20% of English citizens had 80% of the money. This discovery made him think that there was no balance in this world, so he continued to study rich people of past times and places. He was surprised to find out that the same rule applied all throughout history. This made him think, can this principle be applied to other areas of life, such as the economy? That was the birth of the 80-20 principle. How to think 80-20. In the previous chapter, we learned that small things can lead to big results, and likewise, big things can lead to small results. This is the 80-20 principle in the simplest sense. How can this principle be applied to real life? First, you need to focus on your own life, study it, then see what changes you can make to improve your life. You don't have to work too hard to achieve good results. Instead, you need to become smart and know what kind of work requires less effort and what gives you the most profit. Take time to think carefully before making any changes. There are two ways you can do this. You can start thinking 80-20 or do an actual analysis of the area of your life that you want to change. Then, once you spot your 20%, study the causes, concentrate on nurturing them, and try to make the rest produce 80% of profits just like them. As an example, the author had a tutor who gave him life-changing advice. He told him to never read a book from start to end unless he really wanted to enjoy it. If he wanted to learn from that book, he had to be smart. He told him to read the conclusion carefully, then the introduction, then go back to the conclusion. That should be enough, since most books explain everything in both the introduction and the conclusion. If he needed more information out of the book, he should go directly to the chapter he needed. This way, he didn't have to read the whole book. What the author concluded was that his teacher was telling him to get more value from the book by reading less. This was an easier approach and took less time. He thought, what if this works on exams as well? He studied samples of 100 exams and found that 80% of exam questions cover only 20% of the content that the students were studying. First, that made him think that the educational system at Oxford was ineffective. With time, he started thinking that maybe their professors were just preparing them for how the real world works. The underground cult. How does this principle contribute to the world? You may be wondering where this idea has been implemented across the globe. It has been used on countless occasions throughout history. The first wave that changed the world was the quality control wave. Here, the 80-20 principle was applied to study products that did not make any profit. The results proved that if you focus on the 20% good qualities that may sell the product, rather than focus on all of them, you will receive 80% profit quickly and with less effort. If things were this easy, what's causing the lack of quality in products? The answer to this question is that not everyone is working by this principle. Today, the 80-20 principle is considered a secret weapon used only by a few. Those few are the most successful businesses in the world. In order to apply this principle to your business, you have to try to generate the most profit out of the least effort. This must involve every aspect of your business. Focus on the most profitable products, markets, and customers. A good example of this principle is one that Joseph Juran created back in 1950. He started a revolution on quality control. Juran claimed that companies should study their flawed products and identify the reasons why they failed to sell in the market. Once the problems were identified, they should focus only on the most important qualities, the 20%, and try to improve them. He believed that by fixing the 20% qualities, the product would start selling better. It all depended on the customers and what they wanted. Trying to improve 100% of the quality of a product is impossible. He called these problems the vital few. This method proved to be useful. When Japanese companies started implementing this approach, they took over the market with their products. This view changed the business world. Companies in the West also started to adapt to 80-20. They stopped trying to achieve overall or perfect quality, but rather focused only on the 20% that would sell and make 80% of the profit. Why is your strategy wrong? You may be thinking that your company is doing its best and you and your employees are doing their best too. But you're totally wrong. Is your strategy wrong? Yes. Why? Surely you have no idea where your profits are coming from and where you're losing money. You are making much effort and achieving only a small profit. You don't need to conduct an overview of your strategy. What your company needs is an underview, a deep study of how your business is working for you. You must know how your money is being generated. You need to identify the aspects of your business that are making you the most profit. This includes your products, your customers, and anything else that is bringing in money. To know more about your products, you need to study the sales you made last month. To know more about your customers, You must focus on the customers or customer groups that buy your product the most. Other aspects are things you may have already noticed, such as comparing small projects and big projects. Whichever makes you the most profit should take more of your energy and resources. Another beneficial way is to study your competition. A company called Interface Corporation of Georgia used to sell carpets. They studied their business and noticed that of all the carpets that people bought, only 20% of them were used. After learning this, they shifted the company's focus from selling carpets to fixing carpets people already owned and used daily. Anyone who had a carpet that suffered an accident was taken to that shop. The employees would repair the carpet and reinstall it into the home of the customer. This company realized that in order for their business to make more money, they had to target the customers that were bringing in the most profit, in this case, the carpet owners. Now this company is an $800 million carpet supplier. It is great proof of the inner workings of the 80-20 principle. Simple is beautiful. Have you ever wondered if you can run a business that only makes profit? No losses, no pain, just profits. Let's say you have thoroughly studied your business and your strategy. You have figured out the 20% of every aspect that turns into 80% of your profit. The question is, what to do now? This is where problems start to arise. Most business owners refuse to get rid of 80% of their products that are not contributing to anything. They reject the idea of focusing only on the profitable 20%. They are scared and they don't believe in a business that is 100% profitable. You have to think differently. Don't fight change. Be the unreasonable man in Bernard Shaw's example and just go with a simple approach. By simple, we don't mean aim for less. Instead, just get rid of anything that is not bringing you money, whether it's a product feature, or even an employee. Small doesn't mean you have to limit the reach of your enterprise either. Make it international, but keep it simple. Sometimes targeting customers of different backgrounds means adjustments to the service or the product you sell. You have to be smart and keep your focus on that 20%. Don't expand too much and lose more money than you're making. Remember that complexity will cost more money than a simple approach will. Gunter Rommel is the head of 39 companies. He once did a study comparing these companies to find out which one was the best at making money. After careful analysis, he discovered that the companies that were winning the game were those that focused on fewer customers, fewer products, and fewer suppliers. He concluded that the winning characteristic that combined the most successful companies is simplicity. After all, simple is always more valuable. A simple, smart, and focused business will always be better. Once you find your 20%, just focus on that and don't hesitate to let go of the things that don't really matter. If you want to succeed, you have to be brave. Hooking the right customers. Before 1960, all companies were focused on mass production. In 1960, Theodore Levitt wrote an article that changed the whole view of business. This article was about focusing on marketing and on customer satisfaction rather than the product themselves. By the year 1990, successful companies started to adopt a customer-centered approach in studying the market. This was a huge shift in business history. However, this approach is not entirely correct. Once companies started to focus on customers and tried to expand their range to satisfy different types of people, the cost of production and marketing went through the roof. So in order to decide on what kind of customer you should focus on, you need to do an 80-20 study of your range. Your business must be centered on the most profitable customers. Study their needs, then try to please them by creating products that they can never buy elsewhere. A broadcasting company that owns WQHD and WRKS radio stations has been very successful with its marketing strategies. They make a lot of money out of the few people that listen to their channels. How did they do it? They reported that they had been following the 80-20 rule in their business strategy. They found that their targeted few audience members were loyal to their shows. Then they focused on running shows that these loyal listeners would prefer to listen to. The broadcasting company shared that they focused on every single listener who was in their top 20% of followers, then tried to make him or her listen for longer periods of time. By doing that, these few turned from listening for only 12 hours a week to listening for 25 hours a week. Just imagine how much money they managed to make. All they did was focus on the right customer. The top 10 business uses of the 80-20 principle. We have learned so far how to apply the 80-20 rule on choosing the best quality products, reducing the cost of the things that are not working, as well as marketing and strategy. There are other applications to this principle. Business is mainly focused on making the right decisions. If you are facing many critical points in your business, just take a moment to breathe and evaluate what decisions are important. Then focus on them and only them. Making the right decisions usually stems from asking the right questions, such as what is working well and what isn't. What kind of problems might we face ahead? If you make a decision and it doesn't work, change your mind quickly. Don't be stubborn. If your decision brings you profits, think about how you can make more. Another application of this principle is to control your inventory. If you study your stock inventory, you'll find out that only 20% of your products are being sold for 80% of profit. So why are you keeping 80% of products in your inventory when they don't bring you any money? Do you know how much money you are losing on these products? We can assume that it's a lot. You can also use the 80-20 rule to manage your projects. First, you need to simplify your project into small tasks. Then you must focus on the 20% of tasks that will bring you the most profit. It is always helpful to set a deadline for your projects. This will give you an extra push to do more within a less period of time. Filofax was a company led by Robin Field that sells binders. The author tells the story of how this company was out of control in 1980. Then they expanded their stock to cover all kinds of products. The binders they were selling had all types of sizes, skins, and themes. This may seem like a great strategy, but the result was a huge problem. A huge amount of products piled up in the inventory, just sitting there with no one to buy them. Another issue was raised from the never-ending additions to these binders. They became too complex for use and only caused confusion. Just think about the amount of money that was spent on developing these complex, expensive binders only to be left in stock. This proves that stock management is key to the success of your business. The vital few can give success to you. Success is not luck, but hard work and organized systems. You have to start thinking seriously about what really makes you money, then ignore the rest. Do you think that all your employees add the same value to your company? Not all employees are the same, and not everyone brings the same value. Some kill your work, some are just passengers, others are vital. Also, not all activities are equal. Some tasks are money makers, some are just distractions. Focus your resources on high-profit activities. Stop thinking 50-50 and start living by the 80-20 rule. Focus on the 20% of your time, energy, organization, business, and employees that will bring you that 80% of profit. Don't stop in the present. Go further and start expecting that today's 20% may not work for you in the future. Start planning ahead. Train your brain to block the 80% that isn't working in all aspects of your life and business. This can only be achieved by actions. Start doing and start right now. An example of taking valuable actions that will change your way of thinking is this. The author had a friend who was having a difficult time dividing up the annual bonuses among his employees. Even though his friend was sure that only 2 employees out of the 100 he had were making 50% of the profit, he hesitated to go out of the norm and give those 2 employees bigger bonuses than the others. Even though they deserved it, he felt shy to do that. The author suggested to his friend that he should give the 2 top-earning employees half the money. His friend refused Later in their analysis, they found that one particular executive brought zero benefit to the firm. Should he therefore receive no bonus? Even though it was logical, the head of the bank couldn't do it because the executive was more likable than the others. His friend wasn't judging based on merits, but based on social relationships. That was a big mistake. He was losing money. They were lucky enough that this executive left on his own to work for another job. This was a good example of lack of focus. The friend should have focused more on the two employees who were making him real profit. If he gave them more attention and support, they would have brought more profit to the firm. So don't hesitate when it comes to your business. Be ruthless when you focus on the vital few that have the ability to make your profits skyrocket. Being free. The 80-20 principle can buy you freedom. Instead of being a slave to your hard work and never-ending efforts, you can spend less time working and earn more money. All you have to do is seriously implement this principle in your business. Our goal is not to make you think 80-20 for a certain benefit then stop. The aim is to train your brain to automatically think 80-20 forever. Once you reach that state, every action you take in your life will be maximized to the fullest potential. If you do that, your life will progress constantly and make your life more enjoyable and fun. You should know that ambition doesn't always require long hours of work and sleepless nights. You don't need to be active all day long in order to reach your goals. If you live by the 80-20 rule, you live a smart, optimized life. Less effort will be enough to achieve your goals. Progress is freedom. Don't just be satisfied with where you are. The world is always changing, and to be at the top, you have to win the race of progress. The writer of The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire is Edward Gibbon. He is considered to be the captain of progress. Gibbon believed that the human race would never be satisfied with where they have got. People will always look for perfection, and perfection can only be achieved through progress. He concluded that wealth and happiness will always be increasing due to progress. No matter how much money you're making now, there is always someone who is making more than you. Whatever strategy you are content with in applying to your business, someone else is surely doing better than you. So why not try to be the best? The 80-20 rule has been proven to work for everyone. Now it's your turn. Conclusion. In this journey, you have learned valuable lessons that will change your life. You learned that it is possible for your life to be maximized to the fullest. You can start working less and making more money by